Hey everybody, welcome to CSD2361, the Phonetics class for fall 2020. Things will be working a little differently this fall, as you know. You'll come to a section meeting either on Monday or on Wednesday at 10:30 in Leon Levine room 231 most weeks of the course. Given the way 2020 is going, why not toss this in there too? I think it's a good idea to at least mention the what used to be one of our maybe things we would worry about, an active shooter situation at the school. This is pretty unlikely to happen up here in Boone, but the way this year is going, well, who knows? In the training that we faculty have had on this situation, their recommendation is that you first try to get away, if at all possible. Second, try to be someplace where you won't be seen or found, if at all possible. And then finally, if neither of those two work, then confront the person who is being crazy. It's policy for Appalachian State that you can't have weapons on campus, but you can have things like pepper spray to potentially use for self-defense, so you could think about getting yourself some of that. There is a student organization in CSD called NISHLA or NISLA. It is a national organization for the speech and hearing profession, and there is a chapter for ASU on OrgSync that is run by Dr. Buff as faculty advisor. It's really run by students, but you can check out that link or talk to Dr. Buff if you have the opportunity, or maybe one of your fellow students knows about it. In the classes that I teach, I generally expect people to read the textbook that has been assigned as one of the primary sources of information for what's in the course, provided you with a schedule for how we're going to be moving through the chapters, so that you can do that on an appropriate pace. I provide you with lecture slides I'll be using, and we also have recordings of the lectures for you to listen to if you can stand to, that provide you with, I guess, different ways of getting the information on the content in this course. When we meet in class in person, you can do what you like as long as you're not bothering other people. And some professors maybe get bothered if people aren't paying attention, but whatever. If you want to waste your time in class, I guess you can do that, just as long as you do it quietly. Overall, I expect us all to be adults more or less and be professional and respectful in classes at all times, and for that matter in our interactions with each other online. So phonetics is part of the study of speech. Speech is a process of communicating by articulating sounds. Analysis of language has found speech sounds as the most basic elements of human verbal communication, and the focus of phonetics is really on those speech sounds. You know from your anatomy class that these speech sounds are formed with the different speech articulators like the tongue, the lips, the jaw, moving the velum, the vocal folds making phonation happen. All of these elements will be a part of what we talk about in the creation of speech sounds, but we'll talk about them a little more generally in terms of places of articulation, manners of articulation, and the use of voicing to create distinct speech sounds like a t or a m or a r. And we will also go through all of the individual speech sounds to learn their place, manner, and voicing characteristics. The other thing we do in phonetics is have a way to write down the sounds of speech, because ordinary spelling does not capture the sounds of English very well. So as part of this class, you will learn something called the International Phonetic Alphabet that you can use to make a phonetic transcription of something that someone says. In this class, you're going to learn the basics of sound articulation for all the different English speech sounds and get a lot of practice transcribing spoken English using the International Phonetic Alphabet. And also later in the class, we'll apply that transcription skill to some of the common populations that you run into in communication sciences and disorders, like children, like people with communication disorders, and like people that are not native speakers of English. So what you can expect from me in this class is assistance and explanation of anything specific to the course content or your assignments or any technology that I ask you to use that's specific to phonetics. Might be able to help you with your own personal computer issues, but no guarantees there. I'm not a Mac user, for example. This semester, I'll be available to meet over video by Zoom, talk on the phone, be contacted by email. Meeting in person at the moment is being discouraged. You can expect your assignments to be graded fairly, and by that I mean everybody will be treated in the same way. That doesn't necessarily mean you'll like the grade you'll get, but you'll be held to the same standard as everyone else. And you'll also have a few different ways to demonstrate your understanding of the material in this class that's designed to translate to your grade. We'll be doing a lot of phonetic transcription. Much like ordinary spelling, you have to be able to both read and write, so we'll be working on both in this class. And then, like other classes I teach, content part of the courses will be covered by multiple choice testing, similar to what's done in the clinical certification tests that a person takes at the end of their graduate program to become a clinician. I expect you all to read the syllabus. It's got information about how the class is going to be run on there, in addition to what I've talked about here. Follow the ASU Honor Code at all times. Reach out to me when you have questions or if you need help with the course. Don't just silently suffer and then come to me with a problem at the end of the semester when it's too late to fix it. Be sure to read the chapters and the assignments that you're given. Study the material often. The material is cumulative and builds over the course of the semester. You will need to spend time outside of class time to learn the material, or maybe more specifically to learn the skills you need for this class to do phonetic transcription. The syllabus is available on As You Learn. It will be updated as needed. It's probably still got mistakes on it as well. We have a variety of ways to help your learning. Part of your job as a student is to figure out what works best for you. So we will have lectures. You'll have an opportunity to ask questions. We have recordings that you can review. Have the PowerPoint slides provided to you that might be a nice structure for note-taking or for a highlight reminder of what the topics in the course are. And we'll have a variety of formative class assessments, so things that you do, they will be graded so you get some credit for your effort, but things that you do to help you learn, like labs, which will be practicing the transcription skill, homeworks, which will probably be similar, quizzes, which will mostly be multiple choice tests like the exam, presented online and repeatable for you to practice exam type questions. The syllabus may change depending on how it goes getting through the material in the class, if we have big problems with weather or other pandemic related issues as the fall semester goes on. As far as what's on the syllabus, we're going to go through the book in order. Most of your grade will come from 4 exams, but those exams will be kind of 2-part. One part will be a little more familiar, kind of typical multiple choice content-based exam. The other part, however, will be for you to do some actual transcription as part of the exam, listening to examples of speech and writing down what is said in IPA, or vice versa, looking at an IPA transcription and identifying what is being said from it. And then the rest of your grade, 20%, comes from the various learning activities, the lab, homework, quiz activities that you'll do somewhat at your own pace, either in sections where we meet once a week or outside of class. So typical things students wonder about, study guides. I do plan to provide a study guide before the exam. Generally speaking, the study guide is just kind of a highlight list of everything that was talked about in class. You will get PowerPoint presentations posted in advance of covering that material in the week of class. At the moment, class is set up for lectures to be recorded like this one and posted online rather than to be given live in class. The PowerPoint presentations should cover almost all of the information in the course, but it's possible there may be some other minor topics that are mentioned in the book that don't end up getting any focused class time, but that could still pop up on an exam. As far as preparing for exams goes, I think the best thing you can do is kind of keep up with the class continuously. One thing research has shown is that when you sleep, your memory gets updated and things get stored in long-term memory. So if you study some every day or most days, then you have more sleep opportunities for that information to get coded permanently. I recommend that you take notes while you're listening to lectures. Consider rewriting your notes after you've done listening to lectures, and think about the information in them. Try to reorganize them, rewrite them more clearly. Explain to yourself what you thought you meant by what you wrote when you were taking notes. Basically, the more different ways you can process the information, the better memory you'll have for it, without sort of formally having to sit and study. You will get practice exam type questions on the quizzes, so I recommend you take advantage of that by taking the quizzes multiple times to see a few different examples of questions. And then the other thing to think about is why am I giving you particular assignments to do? There usually is a reason. If you can figure out what's important about something or why I'm giving you that task to do, that suggests then you have kind of a bigger picture understanding of what's going on in the class. So for this week, send me any questions or concerns that you have about the syllabus. There will be a brief course overview lecture that'll kind of present the overall content for what's going to be covered in phonetics. And then keep an eye out for things for the second week of classes, where we'll start covering Chapter 1. There will be lecture videos posted on the topic of clinical phonetics in general. We will have a class meeting that you come to on either Monday or Wednesday to ask any questions you have, and we'll start to work on our skill of transcription. So I recommend that you bring a pencil to class because you will definitely make mistakes doing transcription.